A blessing, good morning, and welcome to Focal Online TV. Welcome to the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. Today is July 14th, and I'm your presenter for the show Inside the Print Media. Good news and information from our sources here in Liberia. We have the Daily Observer newspaper, we have the New Dawn newspaper, and the Front Page Africa newspaper. I'm here in studio this morning with my co-presenter.
Here, Lyndon Togba.
And we're going to be drilling you through interesting headlines and details. We encourage you to please continue to share our live stream while we bring information right to you. Remember, we are Focal Online TV. We are located village community along the Japanese highway. We will be right back with the news, headlines, and details. Thank you. Stay with me, please. Into Focal Online TV, where we bring innovation to broadcasting. This morning, we say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. We say thank you for watching us and stream as we bring the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. Remember, we said earlier that we have our sources of newspapers here. We have our source. We have the New Dawn newspaper, the Front Page Africa international news for today. So today I'm your presenter for the daily edition of Inside the Print Media, Gregphina along with my co-presenter. Togba, how do you feel this morning?
Well, it is amazing for me to be here doing the job that we are always called to do.
Okay, so this morning we begin the news headline from Daily Observer. World Bank to give Liberia US 300 million to construct. World Bank to give Liberia US 300 million to construct another dam. The news in details. The World Bank has pledged a monument to finance and bolster Liberia electricity infrastructure with the construction of a dam. The dam, which is expected to be built on the St. Paul River in Lower Bond County, is an ambitious project which seeks to address the country's long-standing electricity defects, which perpetuated socio-economic challenges and set opportunities for growth and development. Liberia has long grappled with the chronic power shortage, with less than 20 of the country's 5.2 million people having access to electricity. However, the World Bank provides a glimmer of hope for the nation's future, financing the construction of another dam, which, when completed, is expected to significantly contribute to Liberia's electricity production, great enabling more Liberians to have access to consistent power. The project, when completed, will significantly increase Liberia hydropower generating capacity by an additional 1.5 megawatts, Adolfo Scott, the communication manager of the Liberia Electricity Corporation, said in the release. We now move to Nigeria under the Daily Observer newspaper. Senate comes to life at 11th hour. Senate comes to life at 11 hour. The news in details. With less than 3 months to the October 10th presidential and legislative elections, the chamber of the Liberian Senate seemed to have been hit by a surprisingly hard tavern, with candidates, especially those seeking re-election, to make vote-saving moves. Non-active committees chaired by outgoing senators are now putting on unprecedented performances, holding public and committee referring to as born again senators in the corridors of the Senate. They have encouraged the so-called like-minded opposition group led by the Monserrate County Senator Abraham Darius Dillon to now start to do the Liberians' people work. This came as no surprise on July 12th when an enraged Senate plenary, backed by its equally enraged pro tempore, called for four ministers of public works and voted that they be incarcerated in a common jail for 24 hours. We now move over to another headlines and news in details under the Daily Observer newspaper. A final push to make the 2023 candidate registration count for Liberia women. A final push to make the 2023 candidate registration count for Liberian women. The gender equality legislation in January 2023, Sierra Leone took a huge leap forward in correcting its history of women underrepresentation in the political and economic life of the country. The Gender Equality and Women Legislation of 2022 is largely responsible for more than doubling the number of women in their national parliament, rising from 12.6% to 30.4% from 17 members of parliament, that is the MPS, in 2018 to 41 females MPS following their election on July 4th, 2023. With Sierra Leone proportional representation, electoral system established by the Constitutional Decree in 2022, political parties were compelled to assign a minimum 30% of the seat that won to women members. Liberia also had in 2023 to pass an electoral reform bill which included a minimum 30% gender quota. This would have required political parties to include no less than 30% of either gender on their candidate nomination list for the 2023 elections. This is how we close up on the Daily Observer newspaper. We now move over to my co-host for the headlines and news in details from the front page Africa.
Thank you, Gregphina CPA, for such a beautiful and splendid performance of the Daily Observer newscast. So we move over to the newspaper. Chief Zoet assures Major Koji of Nima County support to President Weir in October election. Chief Zoe assures Mayor Koji of Nima support to President Weir in October election. Major Jefferson Koji, following his recent trip to Israel, reached out to Major General Abel G. Pei, affectionately known as Chief Zoe, a respected area, his congratulations on his wedding and extend pleasantries to Mr. Pate during their conversation about the politics and people of Nima County with Chief Zoe assuring Major Koji of Airdeal's unwavering commitment to President George Weah. Out of Nimbadians, Major Koji emphasized their gratitude and expressed confidence that the people of Nimba for President Weah in the upcoming 2023 general and presidential elections. The major highlighted tangible achievements such as increased job creations on President Weah's leadership, which he believes will drive overwhelming support for the ruling party, the CDC, in the county. Still on the front page African newspaper, Liberia and Ghana hold fishery discussion on sidelines of fishery committee for the Eastern Central Atlantic meeting. Liberia and Ghana hold fishery discussions on sideline of fishery committee for the Eastern Central Atlantic meeting. Liberia's fishery director General Honorable Emma Miata Glasgow has held a bilateral discussions with Ghanaian ministers of fishery and aquaculture development and current chair of Honorable Mavis Hawa Kunsin of the sideline of the ongoing Fishery Committee for the Eastern Central Atlantic CCAF FAO meeting targeting Liberia, taking place in Liberia. That's taking place in Liberia. CFCWC is the Fishery Committee for the West African Gulf of Guinea, a regional fishery organization with a membership including Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and Togo. The Fisheries Committee for the West Central Gulf of Guinea was established in 2007 to facilitate cooperations in fishery management among the members countries. Those fisheries countries have several shared fish stocks and identify a need for cooperations and shared management of these resources. Accordingly, Director General M. Glasgow and Minister Kunsin discussed, among other things, the upcoming fifth ministerial meeting scheduled to be held in Liberia December 2023, the implementation of the regional closed fishing season, FCWC Regional Observer Program, and Joint Fishery Patrol and Joint Scientific Research Program. They also discussed issues surrounding the fight against piracies in FCWC areas, a collaboration between Liberia and Ghana at international meetings, implementations of the MOU between Liberia and Ghana to combat illegal and unreported and unregulated fishing. That is IUU fishing. Discussions of the procedural SOP for MOU between Liberia and Ghana, discussions on cooperation between Liberia and Ghana for the development of aquaculture in Liberia. Still on the front page African newspaper, former Liberian track athlete Bill Rogers set to receive African Achiever Award. Former Liberian track athlete Bill Rogers set to receive African Achiever Award. Bill Rogers, a former Liberian international track athlete and the chief executive officer of the Bill Rogers Youth Foundation, is said to be honored with July 14. The prestigious award recognizes his significant contributions in improving the lives of young people in both the United States of America and country Liberia. The African Achiever Award is an annual ceremony that celebrates African excellence by acknowledging and honoring exceptional organizations across various industries in Africa. Individuals and organizations have made immense contribution to the growth and development of the continent. A communications from the West African Achiever Award Reservation Office in United Kingdom informed Mr. Roger Hall at the Palace of Westminster, UK Parliament, where the award will take place, is currently oversubscribed for reservation. This year marks the 13th editions of the West African Achiever Award, an annual event that aims to recognize outstanding achievement. During the ceremony, Rogers will share his life story and the lesson he has learned at the House of Lords Banquet Hall. Additionally, he had the opportunity to speak at the international summit held at the European School of Economics in the United Kingdom. In an interview with Front Page Africa, Roger expressed his honor in representing Liberia and Africa on a global platform focused on youth population. Still on the Front Page Africa newspaper, Lyman Bowie to speak at Women Deliver Conference in Kigali. Lyman Bowie to speak at Women Deliver Conference in Kigali. The Women Deliver organizations, which advocates for sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and advances in gender equity, has invited Nobel laureate, Nobel Peace laureate, Foundations Africa to serve as a speaker at the conference in Kigali, Rwanda. The YD conference scheduled to take place from July 17th to the 20th, 2023, under the theme Spaces, Solidarity, and Solutions. It's expected to convene 6,000 people to Kigali and attract participants online through the virtual platform. It is one of the largest multi-sectoral gatherings in gender equality, bringing together representatives from multilateral governments and the private sector, philanthropists, and youth, including individuals from communities facing systematic discriminations. In an exclusive interview from Page Africa office in Magibi County, Lima Bowie expressed involvement of women in peace building and government empowerment of young women in leadership role during her accompanied by 5 young women as an eye-opener to the conference. When asked about Liberia's progress in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, particularly in building, Bowie clarified that her work is outside the influence and interactions of the Liberian government. Acknowledge the active engagements of women at the grassroots level in peace building activity within the country. Bowie's Through the Bowie's Foundation, she asserted. So that will be a shift of the news. It's back to Gregphina Sipa for the continuation of local news.
Thank you, Kelly, Nonto, reading of our news. We now move over to the New Down newspaper, where I bring the headline details of our news today. The headlines: Southeastern health workers down. Eastern health workers down tools. The news in details. Health workers under the umbrella Southeastern Health Workers Network of Liberia have downed tools to draw attention to the government alleged failure to address salary in the health care sector. The network also seeks to highlight other pressing concerns such as inclusion on payroll, constant salary deductions, low wages, motivational package for hard to reach counties in the region, and replacement of pension health workers. Emphasizes the urgent need to discontinue accepting SAR in the Southeast. According to the group, the insurance company has allegedly failed to provide adequate coverage for approximately 90% of its members in the region. We now move over to another headline under the New Dawn newspaper. Lord, let them leave us US 3 million story man. Lord, let them leave us with your US 30 million story. Dear Father, some common them really get traffic for 2 years. So you won't tell us of the blue sky came and offer you 30 million of Uncle Sam money and you say you just turn your blind eye to it? Pwah. You will let power by way like that. Hmm. Wait now, the old man had you under some kind of spell. So this letter, this prayer is being normal vernacular, our colloquia. So kindly bear with me as I go through it. And this is from the New Dawn newspaper. Dear Father, some common them really get traffic for 2 years. So you won't tell us that some guys came and offer you 30 million for Uncle Sam money and you refuse? Or you just turn it with blind eye? Poor. You will let money and power by way like that. Wait now, the old man had you under some kind of spell. For a second there, even my grandma, so they say, when I even believe that your other story, you better find somewhere to go sit down and share your crocodile tears and stop Kwiku and Nasi story. But wait, oh, you yourself too, yeah. You expect the old traditional business like that to choose you as can really lick your face, so that power now. You better find something to do. You were playing the old man, and the old man was also playing you too. The old now, then you want us to feel sorry for you with your 30 million kwaku story. La la. You better go and sit down with your papa somewhere else. I look like your traffic now, eh? It look like your traffic now from around you, eh? That who my people. Father, then I just some stranger came out of the blue skies to offer him 30 million Uncle Sam money and he allowed 180-year-old papa to cajole him. You better stop looking at my face. If the old man I mean you with him vice running mate job and is hurting you, you better find different thing to say. Why you think the old man I know who to make him vice running mate and you come sit down yet saying how you say you now want 30 million complete flat. You better tell your papa so you can find somewhere else to carry your level. Ha ha ha. Lord, I begging ya. So where you think they can go right now? Father, right now, I think the man and him papa only get one option now. You mean the country giant? Yes, father, the country giant. But where else can they go? They can go to the taxi driver because him papa can't even stand him. Eh? That the main papa and the main old man convened. They wanted a taxi no way. They will be able to go around him since their relationship with the old man now chakra beyond repair. As for my lawyer friend Pa, he not even want to hear that name. He so old rebel or old rebel cannot even come near him. So the old man only hope they get right now is Lyndon Togba. What do you say about this prayer?
It was actually written in our Liberian balance, so that is why you know the flow, the regular flow of the reading pattern is very struggling.
Yeah. So they have this aspect of this pearl that has to do with the country giant, that has to do with the taxi driver. I don't know.
I really don't know until the you
It's
know
kind of
they
poetic, girl.
in the area of they say whenever somebody speaks or somebody write the writer the best person to interpret what he
I'm
says.
saying.
So unless the writer comes here to come interpret, but I don't really know who they bring as
So I think this
the
30
taxi
million
driver in this
story
particular
has to do
case.
with former Vice President Joseph Iman Boaka
Also, it has been the
and
name Joseph
Costa.
Waka in a wake of criticizing Joseph Waka. What not they normally call Joseph Waka is sleepy Joe. So I don't know how is it possible that Joseph Waka has dramatically changed to become a taxi driver now. So
So
actually, what I from the piece of from the piece of literature you have read, to I can I want to believe 100% that this is a act of literature to play mockery out of Costa recent statement he made, because it was Costa who
yes,
said he turned his back on 30 million just so just so that Joseph Baga will have him, or Joseph Baga will pick him. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
So this prayer it has to do with Costa Henry Costa. You already know the country
Yeah, the
giant.
country giant is
It has to do with
Joey.
our former vice president. It has to do with this taxi driver because within the prayer, the person who wrote this prayer to God was saying that Joseph Costa cannot go back to Joseph Waka, and he cannot even go to the taxi driver. So now I am still kind of confused who is the taxi driver in this issue. And he's saying the only place he Costa can find refuge is on a football camp. And obviously you know that the country giant now.
Yeah,
So
but
we now
provided what
have
are the country, because in CDC, I want to believe that the people, the citizens don't like people who who will come to their party and at it, and in a twinkle of an eye or in a twinkle of seconds, then they want to betray them. So Costa is generally perceived to be a betrayer. So a lot of people will be very skeptical about Costa. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So
Yeah.
and the prayer ended this way. The bad news is that the country his line, so you can't even come near him.
Isn't it?
So just be going around with regret in your 30 million story. So many all of the different political parties have been
Even
drawn
before when
far
Costa,
from Henry Costa
yeah,
because of this.
I want us to highlight a particular state of the movement for democratic reconstruction. That is Prince Johnson, who who people refer to as a former warlord. You understand? Or
So how
he
do you
said,
refer to him? Excuse me. How do you refer to him?
I refer to him as Senator Prince Johnson.
Okay, please call him that name, right?
Senator Prince Johnson.
Thank you.
A lot of Liberians. That I was just talking about the kind of way like many Liberians refer to him. You understand? But that is what Prince Johnson said. Prince Johnson said nobody should dignify, nobody should pay homage to the utterances made by Henry Costa because Costa is consistently known to be a traitor.
Hmm.
You understand? Costa branded GMB as Kojolobo and Poison. And later on, he backpedaled after he criticized Joseph Boakai consistently. He came back and started supporting Joseph Boakai. And after Joseph Boakai lost the elections in 2017, he started supporting CDC. But at the time when he went to CDC, what he expected the people to have, the people didn't meet up with that on grounds that there were a lot of people have been disappointed if Georgia was going to appoint Costa or strategic position. So that is just the idea.
Thank you. So we now move over to another headline, still under the New Dawn newspaper. Harper praising superintendent appeals for support. Harper praising superintendent appeals. Superintendent of the Maryland County praising Theodore T. Hammond seeks financial support through the Ministry of Justice and international NGOs to smoothly operate the prison facility in the county. He said the prison in the home of the Speaker, Buffer Chimmer in Harper City suffer vandalization and a raising in 2021. Demanding speedy trial of 18-year-old murder suspect Moses Malma for the death of the late motorcyclist Modicius Yuma on March 25, 2021. The Harper Prison is the only correction center in Maryland County. This is a SOS call for the government of Liberia. It's being said we now close down on our local news here within our country, Liberia. We now move over to our international source of news, that is the ABC News this morning and the CNN News. Give us the headlines and details of our ABC News, please.
All right, the ABC News. I will begin with the ABC News on the headlines. Pence could ban abortion in cases where pregnancy. Pence could ban abortions in cases where pregnancy isn't viable. Former President Mike Pence is making clear that his opposition to a of his most cons- conservative abortion stance to be okay. House Press in an interview that he supposed banning abortion in cases where the pregnancy isn't viable and the baby wouldn't survive outside the womb, as in the case of extreme fetal abnormalities. I am pro-life. I don't apologize for it. Pence told the AP. Also say, I want to always err on the side of life. I will hold the view that these matters because I honestly believe that we got this extraordinary opportunity in the country today to restore the sanity of life to the center of American law. Members of the medical community have criticized his comments, saying that abortion services can be critical for women facing pregnancy complications. Pence, who was India's governor before serving as vice president in the Trump's administration, has been staunch in his support for sweeping abortions restrictions, citing his Christian faith and principles. Still on the ABC News, Three heavily decomposed bodies discovered at remote wilderness campsites. Three heavily decomposed bodies discovered at remote wilderness campsites. The heavily decomposed people have been discovered at a remote campsite in Colorado wilderness, and authorities are trying to figure out who they are and how long they might have been there for. The gruesome discovery was made by a person hiking in the Gold Creek campground early Monday morning in a remote area of Colorado, 150 miles of Aspen in the southeastern part of the state, when the hiker discovered a remote campsite with a heavily decomposed deceased individual within the camp, said Gunnison County Honor Sheriff Joe Ashes in a statement regarding the case. At approximately 8 2 minutes past 8 a.m. on Monday, July 2023, investigator with the Gunnison County Sheriff Office located the campsite and discovered two additional heavily decomposed individuals with the campsite. I said it appeared the individual had been deceased for a substantial period of time. The cause of death for the three individuals is is not currently known and is pending the completion of an autopsy. Authorities said it is not known how long the autopsy will take due to the condition the body were found. That is a shift back to Gregphina Park for the continuation and subsequent closure of today's editions of the print media.
So we now move over to the CNN news and the headlines and news in details. India launches historic Chandrayaan 3 mission to land spacecraft on the moon. India launches historical Chandrayaan 3 mission to land spacecraft on the moon. The news in details. India is bidding to become only the fourth country to execute a controlled landing on the moon with a successful launch Friday of its Chandrayaan 3 mission. Chandrayaan, which means moon vehicle in Sanskrit, blasted off from the Satish Giant Space Center at the Saharkota in Southern Andhra Pradesh state at just after 2:30 p.m. local time, 5 a.m. ET. Crowds gathered at the Space Center to watch the history-making launch, and more than 1 million people tuned in to watch on YouTube. It's India's second attempt at a soft landing after its previous effort with the Chandrayaan 2 in 2019 failed. Its first lunar probe, the Chandrayaan 1, orbited the moon and was then deliberately crash landed on the surface in 2008. Developed by the Indian Space Research Organization Israel, Chandrayaan 3 is comprised of a lander propulsion model and reward. Its aim is to safely land on the lunar surface, collect data, and conduct a series of scientific experiments to learn more about the moon's atmosphere. We now move over to another headlines from our source CNN. Scientists are growing seeds in space to help adapt to climate change on Earth. Scientists are growing seeds in space to help adapt to climate change on Earth. Plants naturally adapt to growing in challenging environments. Simultaneous natural mutations produce new traits such as drought tolerance and disease resistance, which can help the plant to thrive. But the Earth's climate is changing faster than the plants can naturally evolve, meaning that the many of the plants we rely on for food are under threat. Agriculture is extremely vulnerable to the impact of changing climate conditions, and or through changes to temperature, rainfall patterns, and frost might extend a growing season or enable the cultivation of external crops. Climate change poses major challenges for farming. Now scientists are turning to the vastness of space for solution. In 2022, the Joint Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, and the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization FAO sent seeds on a trip to the International Space Station ISS. The objective of the induced genetic mutations in the sea through exposure of cosmic radiation and microgravity that could help develop resilient crops capable for thriving in the face of the escalating climate crisis. Seeds of a cereal grain called sorghum and a type of cress called Arabidopsis spent several months on the ice before they were returned to Earth this April for analysis. Now screening will begin to identify mutated seeds. Shoba Zamfoglas, head of plant breeding and genetics of the John Fowle and IEA Center of Nuclear Techniques in Food and Agriculture, explained that scientists are induce plant mutations on Earth using gamma rays and X rays. This is how we close up on our news on our daily edition of Inside the Print Media for today. And don't forget, we acknowledge all of our viewers watching us and going along with us through this weather. We say thank you. We encourage you to always share our live stream. We are Focal Online TV. We are located within Tobo Village community along the Japanese Highway. For today's news presentation, I am your presenter, Gregphina along with my co-presenter.
Lyndon Togba.
And we are here always to bring you the delayed edition of Inside the Print Media. We will be here again next week, Monday, with another headlines of top stories within our country, Liberia, in details. Please stay tuned. We love you, and we say have a pleasant weekend. Please enjoy yourself. Don't forget to know that you have a family at home as well. Thank you for watching. We will be back again next week on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. Lyndon Togba, before we close up, do you have a word for our Liberian people?
Yes, I just want to appreciate because it is indeed cost day for those of the people who abandon their regular responsibility that they should be doing different things. And just to be informed, they are always watching along with us. I want to say kudos to you. Keep doing that. Please, we begging you to always share our live here. Encourage other people to watch along with you so that we can be able to uplift the people. That's all.
Thank you, Lina Kietopa. So we join our voices as Focus staff to say please continue to share our live stream. Without you, we will not be doing this broadcast. So we need you to share our live stream. We encourage you to always get a newspaper for an affordable price to get the news in details and other stories. We bring you the top stories, the headlines and the news in details, but we encourage you to get the newspaper. They are so at an affordable price. We have $40 Liberian, some newspapers, and we have $50 Liberian, the highest amount. So we encourage you to please get yourself a newspaper. This is how we wrap it up, saying happy weekend to you. Enjoy we will be back next week with the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. With this being said and read out, I am your presenter, Gregphina along with my co-presenter, saying have a God bless weekend. We love you. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for watching us. We will be back again next week, Monday, with another daily edition of Inside the Print Media. We say kudos to our technical team in studio here. We have our leader for the technical team, Brother Mwame Kane, who always helping us and aiding us in studio here. I'm hoping that today you can enjoy yourself. So this is how we
The,
wrap
the,
it up.
the man the man was actually the man was about to hold you in contempt. Do you know what it means to serve consistently as a technical producer and one on no occasion you have recognized on the
Yeah.
platform? So
I
the man was
apologize. So today, thank God, Lyndon Togba, I thought about that because I was going to be held in contempt for my actions. So we say thank you to our technical team, Brother Mwame Kane, for this brilliant work you are doing. Don't stop. There's greater ahead of you. We encourage you to continue to subscribe and to like our page, to follow us as we bring you the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. We are saying have a God bless weekend. We love you. We will be back next week with the daily edition of Inside the Print Media.